spot from the Public Broadcasting Network where you can handle the truth. Good evening from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Midge Mathis, Susan Olsen, and Richard Lighthouse on the Republic Broadcasting Network. But first, joining Targeted Massachusetts is free. Just go to targetedmassachusetts.org and at the top of the page, go to Join TM. Please complete the easy registration form. By joining, you receive our newsletter, text updates, and the latest developments in our situation. Donate to Targeted Massachusetts and help us to continue our activism. We are a legal organization in the state of Massachusetts. If you have any questions, call me anytime in the U.S. at 1-508-857-8334. Call into the show live and ask a question at 800-313-9443. Or you can listen at 605-313-0163. I'd like to speak of a stellar organization, actually, that is here with us tonight, and that is Targeted Justice. I recommend that you join. Go to targetedjustice.com. At the top of the page on the left, you will see Home. Hover over that, and you will see Meet the Team and Become a Member. Click or tick on Become a Member, and you're on your way with one of the best organizations that exists. And that is targetedjustice.com. And I repeat, targetedjustice.com. Targeted Massachusetts Northeast Conference airs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Access by phone, 515-604-9715. Access code 708922. ID Targeted. If you'd like to join us by computer, in your address bar, type freeconferencecall.com/wall/targeted. Our YouTube channel is Targeted Massachusetts. We have a chat associated with this show at targetedmass.chatango.com. Okay, who would like to go first?
Frank, what I would like to do is I'd like to read our mission statement because there might be some new people listening.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
Okay. This is Midge with Targeted Justice, and this is our mission statement. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization committed to exposing and ending the CIA's illegal torture program of U.S. civilians. Through public awareness, education, and legal action, we only advocate for nonviolent solutions. We are also the Internet's most popular website for targeted individuals. Our site contains the largest collection of legal and technical information for targeted individuals. Thank you.
And yes, I want to second that. Go to targetedjustice.com, and you will see any and all the information that you will need to fight this war. And that's exactly what it has become. Okay, we have Richard Lighthouse here and Susan Olsen as well. Midge, I know you have a cold. Would you like to continue?
Yeah, I'll stay on, but I'm just not feeling all that great right now. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. How about Susan?
Hi, Frank. Good evening. Thanks for having us back on.
Oh, we have to have you back on. No, it's one of my favorite shows to do. It's
good. And I hope you're feeling well too.
Yes, actually, I am feeling very well. Thank you.
Good. I think one thing that I wanted to touch on, having a nursing license, and being a nurse for 6 years before the takedown started for me, the coronavirus. Can we mention this and how it might pertain to targeted individuals? There is an interview, and, I'm sorry, I wish I could have done a lot more research before. This is kind of spur of the moment. But I think this is something really important as a nurse, as somebody living in a metropolitan area, and keeping an eye on a lot of social media outlets about what's going on in Wuhan, China. And especially Twitter, Frank, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of the videos that we're watching of people getting pulled away that aren't even sick, that might be suspected of being sick. And
they have a new, China has actually a new policy. You don't have to have any symptomology. You don't have to have anything. If you test positive for it, they will let you go and not count you as being afflicted. That's their new policy.
Okay, that's very interesting. There's a really good video that I had just gotten hold of yesterday, so I'm not quite done picking through it, but there's a researcher named Celeste Solum, S-O-L-U-M. So I'm going to quote, and again, I've just been trying to fact check on my my computer. I don't know how compromised it is right now, but just do some quick fact checking. And again, this is something that I think people that are already on these watch lists, even though we were put on fraudulently, and again, most of us, some know that we were whistleblowers, some don't know if it was lineage or who knows, but there is this woman that came across information that I think is so pertinent, especially for TIs to keep an eye on. And I don't think we're going to be too upset about this because we've had so much thrown at us already, and you learn how to cope. I do believe knowledge is power. But this Celeste Solum, she reports on something called the Celestial Report, and I do want to state, and this is also the opinion of Targeted Justice, some of these websites, they are Christian. I am not pushing any religious agenda, and I had to make that clear on the Targeted Justice Facebook page as well. There are people around the planet being targeted that are of all size, shapes, colors, and religions. So I do want to make that clear that I am not pushing any kind of religious agenda here. But this just happens to be a YouTube channel called Many Fish, and the woman interviewed is from the Celestial Report. Her name is Celeste Solum. But getting back to the coronavirus, something, again, as a nurse and living here in a metropolitan area, never knew anything about this. And Midge and RL, jump in anytime you want to stop me, or Frank. The World Health Organization
is mobilized.
It's mobilized. It's a global, we know it's a global agency, and it's not really for the betterment of humanity as we know it as free sovereign beings. What I just found out today is that within the past 2 weeks, the White House made an announcement along with the World Health Organization declaring the 2019 coronavirus a public health emergency of international concern. Apparently, according to the research I'm doing now, when our Constitution was written, public health was a major concern. You know, their sanitation wasn't as efficient as we have today. So, and antibiotics, a lot of pathogenic medications that would be able to control pathogens were not invented yet. But when the Constitution was written, apparently there is written something, and again, I'm sorry, Frank, when I have more time to research, I will, but for the health, safety, and well-being of the mass public, that will supersede constitutional protections.
Yes.
It suspends our constitutional protections. So,
yes, it does.
For TIs, the reason I'm bringing this up, as a nurse, as people here that know that they're being targeted already, we already have had our constitutional rights usurped. We know that. We've seen it in so many aspects of our society. But this is yet another way. As I said in many interviews, as a we call targeted individual, we're on the front lines of this war. We've already seen this. This is yet another way for the global cabal to get everybody else targeted and under surveillance. So with the White House announcement, along with the World Health Organization, that the 2019 coronavirus is a public health emergency of international concern, they will suspend constitutional protections. What that apparently means, this is something I've experienced myself here in Long Island. I live right outside of Manhattan, so it's a pretty dense population here. And when I realized that I had evidence that I was being tracked by the DHS with microchips in my body, any place I went, my internist that I had a wonderful relationship with for many years suddenly canceled all my blood work. He wouldn't treat me anymore. When I was in ventricular tachycardia and my Holter monitor was all over the place, the cardiologist literally laughed at me. This is from Mount Sinai Hospital. Laughed at me and said, "You're never going to find out where the electricity's coming from." And he let me go from his office. What I was doing, Frank, is when I wanted to try to get blood work, when they had been hitting my neck, I would sporadically, as a lot of TIs do, it's good not to have a daily routine. Change things up constantly. Let them work for our tax dollars if they're tracking us, right? I would hop into a urgent care facility that was not connected to one of the corporate hospitals in the area. I would go in, and all of a sudden they'd say, "There's something wrong with your thyroid, there's something wrong with your blood, and you need to come back in 2 weeks." I would come back 2 weeks later, and I was no longer able to get efficient, ethical, true blood work any longer. And what happened, in my case here in the metro area, one of the corporate labs came in and would buy out any of these independent labs. So if you are even suspected of having the coronavirus and there is no option at this point. With all of these independent labs are extremely rare around the country now because all of the labs, the urgent care facilities, they are all now part of the global health system. This is really vitally important for everybody to understand. Now, I will research a little bit more, but apparently they will have the ability to just come to your house if they even suspect that you are sick. If we are unable to get it, it becomes now impossible to get an unbiased, secondary, independent assessment of our lab work, whether we have any kind of contagious disease. Does this now become another way for people to be taken from their homes or rounded up into other contained facilities? It's just something to think of.
Yes, it is, and that's already been reported. It's not happening, but I believe it's the national news that has a reporter that's done a piece on there, and he claims the door is opening for martial law. And if you know anything about martial law, that is the total loss of human rights. You are at the mercy of National Guard and perhaps UN troops, as Mr. Obama signed that into law as well. We have a couple of callers. We have Papa from Tennessee, and we have Marilyn from Ohio. Papa, you have a question.
Not so much a question, but my son and his friend did a trip to China a couple of months back, and this was before the outbreak, and they came back. They had a very successful trip. They enjoyed it, and then I think about a month or so later, this corona thing started to pop and surface. During that time, they booked a trip to Japan that leaves the 23rd of February. And with the recent outbreak, he became, growingly concerned with wanting to even go to Asia altogether. So he reached out to the travel agent, and tickets were well over $1,000 per. He reached out to the travel agent and said, look, I think we want to go ahead and cancel. And they said, well, you can't cancel. This is a non-refundable. And he says that this is now a global health crisis. This is a major deal. And you are routing us through China, which there is a ban on. And if we go, even if we go through China and we sit in an airport for 5 minutes, 1 minute, 10 minutes, 10 hours, we will come back to the United States with a mandatory 2 weeks in decontamination, so to speak, or, in quarantine. And the travel agency has given them then you'll just lose your money. And so I thought that kind of odd, because how many people, of not so worldly knowledge, like my 23-year-old, that may be dumb enough to go, I don't want to lose my money, and decide to go anyway. How many lives are being put at risk falling into this kind of a crack? And I reached out to the local media where he lives in Southern California, and they seemed very interested in it. And they're still kind of fishing this thing around, but I just find that a pretty sick situation, that you've got the money, there's a health crisis that is rapidly getting worse. I mean, when this thing started a week and a half ago with him not wanting to go, it really had only killed the elderly. And there wasn't as many cases. But, I mean, we've seen this thing multiply rapidly just in the last week and a half. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Any comments? That's my 2 cents.
And, I just wanted to add that in this article and one other article, they said that China was understating the amount of people that had already died in China. They said 800. Well, what they had done is taken the real number, which is 8,000, and just stuffed 10% in there and brought it down to 800. So we have a lot of different things going on. I think this is a game changer, and we have to watch it very closely. Okay, we've got a commercial coming up. Thank you very much, people, and I'd like to thank my audience. Back in 3 minutes.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Midge Mathis, Susan Olsen, and Richard Lighthouse from Targeted Justice on the Republic Broadcasting Network. And in view of the time factor, we're going to go right back. We have Marilyn from Ohio. And then we have a station identification at the bottom of the hour. Go ahead, Marilyn.
Hi, everybody. I wanted to say something really quick. Ask Mr. Lighthouse a question. I'm a victim of synthetic telepathy and remote neural monitoring. This is not a chatterbox. It is a very, very large hive of brains interacting with each other, like a conference call for TIs. Only we're hearing each other's thoughts. But I'm the TI. So I'm being battered 24 hours a day by these people. Some interesting things I found out. I'm sure you've heard all the rumors about what it's like to have synthetic telepathy. I wonder, because it's over 20 people, sometimes up to 30, and they do clusters in the hive where they've separated themselves. And they're paid money to attack me and abuse me. And I just wonder who would give the go on having 20, 30 people in a hive. The question is always, why am I targeted? But it's an excessive amount of psychopaths. There's no kind of management. It would seem that there would be some type of policing. It does seem to have gone rogue. That the handlers are in the military-industrial complex, but these local poor people are being recruited. It's a massive group of black men, and lots of people just don't want to believe this. It's true. They're given drugs and apartments to stay in, and they're experimented on, and they're being told to torture me. So I just wonder, how does it work, and why would they allow so many people to interact with each other's brains?
This is Richard Lighthouse. I'm sorry, say your name again.
My name's Marilyn. I live in Kettering, Ohio.
Hi, Marilyn. I can appreciate the gravity of your question. I can't say that I have a whole lot of experience with that level of B2K and synthetic telepathy. I've heard of one other case similar to yours, and we encouraged this particular person to try to track down or ask questions to reveal the identity of some of the other people involved, such as names and locations. And she has not been able to track down any of these people, even though some of them have given both a full name and a location. So it's and again, I don't claim to know your particular situation, but if that's possible, I would recommend trying to do that. And secondly, we have to consider the possibility that those personalities may be computer generated, and that's certainly not an answer that most people would like to hear. But it's something that we have to consider. There's a software program called Adobe Voco, VOCO, that you can research on the internet, and the government can use this to create personalities that the computer can then mimic almost any voice, including the President of the United States. So it can mimic, for example, family members, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, foreign people that you may be familiar with. So it's a very powerful software package. So I sympathize with your situation, since I have known or have seen how debilitating the V2K and synthetic telepathy can be, and I'm good friends with several people that have it, so I do appreciate that. I do not personally have the V2K, so I can't speak to it in any great detail. I would suggest try to identify some of the people, if that's possible, and their location, and try to track them down on the internet using public data that's available, such as property records in the county, veripages.com, Zaba search, zabasearch.com, and there's other websites such as publicdata.com where you can get more detailed information. If you can track those people down, that would certainly help you in your situation, to be able to confront some of these people and ask them directly those very questions that you're bringing up.
Yeah,
does that answer your question at all?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And I have done that. I've gotten some names. I got one name today, and I try to stay in contact with the local police. I've tried to convince them to try to get a team of people to kind of just look at us as a group in the country. But I have like 5 names, and just like the other people, I can't find them. But yes, I have tried that, sir. But thank you.
Republic Broadcasting Network.
Okay, we have to go to break.
By going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Station identification. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Thank you so much.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Tonight, we welcome back Midge Mathis, Susan Olsen, and Richard Lighthouse on the Republic Broadcasting Network. And welcome back. And we have Richard, if he has anything to say, and I think he's got a lot to say. Go ahead, Richard.
You're reading my mind, Frank. I would like to make some helpful announcements from our Targeted Justice latest news. Recently, Targeted Justice has made public statements and announcements that, in our opinion, the organizations known as InfraGard and Citizen Corps should be identified as terrorist organizations. This is a huge step forward, I think, for the TI community and for Targeted Justice to identify the individuals and the groups that are responsible. We believe we've provided enough evidence and connected enough of the dots, and these are our opinions. We encourage others to research the information that we've provided on our website, particularly under the gang stalking tabs. We've also recently received some information that the fusion centers and the FBI and InfraGard use a secret network called eGuardian. That is the secure network built up and provided by the FBI. And this is what's used to communicate and share information about targeted individuals. Grossly illegal, in our opinion. And the FBI runs this operation on a daily basis. Another piece of very helpful information, what I call a smoking gun. Our research has uncovered that the Senate Subcommittee on Investigations sent a memo to the DHS in 2008 instructing the DHS to stop the illegal activity and harassment and stalking that was occurring at the fusion center. So In my opinion, this is a smoking gun where it's clear that the Senate subcommittee knew what the DHS was doing and instructed them to stop. So very helpful piece of information that could be used in any court proceeding. So we're very proud that Targeted Justice continues to uncover critical pieces of research that we can use in the TI community, and we publish those on our website on a regular basis. We encourage folks to go to our latest news every week and look up what we've been able to uncover. Also, very important and helpful to the TI community, Targeted Justice has initiated the first deep state watch list, and we're doing this to counter what we see from the Department of Justice and their fraud and manipulation of the FBI's watch list. So we now have our own deep state watch list. We have a nomination form that we call the substandard nomination form to counter what the Department of Justice uses as their standard nomination form, highly illegal. And we want folks to know about it, and we want some help identifying the names that belong on this important list. So please check that out on our latest news. You can get in touch with Targeted Justice at Targeted Justice membership at protonmail.com, and for research at tjresearch@protonmail.com. So
Richard,
helpful information.
Papa has a couple of questions for you. Papa, you still with us?
Right here, Frank. Yes. This is actually going right over to Richard. Richard, hi, how you doing? This is Papa from Tennessee. Originally from San Diego, where I think this whole program started as a psychological operation on people that chose to be weekend warriors. What better a target than somebody that may not be seeing things clearly to begin with? My family and I relocated here to Tennessee 2 years ago because the targeting had kicked into a 724 thing on me, and it was the worst mistake of our lives. Since we've lived here, we have been denied all legal, all medical. My wife is now being denied employment with a "we just don't believe you" scenario that goes all the way up the chain with the Department of Human Services, Tennessee, who does the vetting for her job. She's been in her field of medical for almost 30 years, and they're refusing to vet her, and we're getting nowhere. But on the street level, street theater, I consider myself a super TI. I'm getting it from everybody, every neighbor. This with the fusion centers ties in the aircraft harassment. My father was a pilot. My grandfather was a pilot. I know what the rules are. I know where you're allowed to fly and how you're allowed to fly over urban areas. I know how far I am from the nearest Podunk airport. And in an attempt to tackle each ingredient in the cake, whether it be the medical or the denial of employment, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, all of these legal issues, we are well over 500 attorneys that at first want to take the case because we have a mountain of evidence, and then we get the oh no, call back, no, we're going to cancel your appointment, we can't help you, down to the doctors that have cut us off, that refuse to give us any kind of medical treatment whatsoever. And my wife and I are in our 50s, and we have, life-saving meds that we need, diabetic meds, high blood pressure meds, things like that, and we can't even get those. I have a pharmacist that out of nowhere asked me to distribute narcotics, both pharmaceutical and street level. We could not get anybody to help us on the matter. Attorneys refuse to help. The whole story, Richard. Everything is there. And, recently I decided to go and do an experiment as was suggested by somebody else. And, I knew the patterns of torture. And if I was in a certain mood, I could get certain things to happen, or certain things would happen. So we decided to go ahead and do what we call predicts on them, or predictions. And lo and behold, in 5 experiments, we got a lot more than we bargained for. And just recently, a false friend, a neighbor who I suspected from day one when we moved here was going to be what I call my Mike and Diane, which is a pair of neighbors we had in Southern California that amongst everybody flipped on us all of a sudden, just like dominoes. And sure enough, it started to happen here. So the things you were talking about just now, I actually jumped over to the Targeted Justice and was reading those updates. Dated February. And that's really, really good news. I have an enormous database of names. Is that what you're referring to in that perspective, where we need to get people that we know are involved? We have documentation to back it up, 10 by 10. I live in a one-party notification state. I record every phone call I make, and I have the best security system you can buy. 4K, high def, beautiful. And we've got a lot of data. We've got a lot of information. And not just, oh, look, there is what I think I see. No, this is black and white stuff. Sorry to be so long.
No, that's very helpful information. We do know that California, particularly San Diego, is one of the first areas that got involved in heavy gang stalking. I think if you go to our tab on the top 100 websites, we've got some information identifying San Diego as the worst gang stalking area in the United States since 2004, and that's based on Google Analytics. So I sympathize with folks in that environment, and we do have statistics to back that up. And in reference to your question,
no, go ahead. I did logistics for a living, but San Diego was considered. And when the Super Bowl came back the first time or whenever it did, and Time Magazine said Model City USA because it is built on a perfect grid. So running parallels on people, all the old school stuff. But, I mean, if you take a group of people that may have chemically induced themselves and want to run this experiment, what a better subject matter to take people that can be easily dismissed as under the influence of narcotics that cause psychosis and hallucinations and XYZ.
Okay. I just wanted to interject that we have Nashe waiting also. Okay, go ahead, Richard.
No, I think he's bringing up a number of valid points, and that's the targeting program looks for those individuals and groups that are most vulnerable. Particularly if you've been involved or if you've been prescribed strong prescription medicines, that makes you, unfortunately, a more vulnerable and less credible person, and they tend to prey on that community to a greater extent. So we have to be aware of that in the TI community. And in reference to your earlier question, do we want information on those folks that have documentation? Yes, we encourage folks to send information to Targeted Justice. In all fairness, we are fairly backlogged, and we have limited resources, and we have a very large readership. So we welcome your comments. We welcome your data and information. We do save that data on our email records and files. So to the extent that you're able to send information in, we will store that information to the best of our ability. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but we are available as a resource in those terms.
It did, and I'm going to step aside because I was the one that texted Nashe to let her know that you were on tonight, and I think she may have violated a few speeding records to get to a place to make her call. Go ahead, Nashe.
I don't really have much to say. I just love all you guys. So back to what you said, Papa, like the Northern County, San Diego, and Richard, what you just said. I didn't know that, but I lived in Northern County. Oh, me and you talked about this, Papa. You lived in Northern County, or you lived in San Diego. I lived in San Diego, and that's where I look back and my targeting began when I was 18. And of course, I didn't know what it was or anything. I just thought, I just thought I was paranoid or losing it. And going to what you said also, what better test subjects would there be than not only individuals that take like over-the-counter medications or prescribed medications. Like me, I've been labeled ADHD, ODD, defiance disorder, anxiety, depression, anything under the book since 12, you know. But on top of that, I am a recreational user, and I've been smoking pot since age 16, you know, like, so definitely discredited not only for mental illness with all of the ADHD, but then avid, you know, recreational drug user, yada, 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 and then controlled substances also. I mean, going to prison for, 4 years for a controlled substance, what was in my urine. So it is discouraging knowing that you're discredited, but I'm to the point where, you know, if they want to make me crazy or pretend like I'm crazy, I'm like, I need to monopolize on it somehow. Like, I'm just going to go for disability and get a check from the man or something, or like, okay, I'm crazy. Well, in 5 years, if this is still going on, it's going to be my defense in my next criminal case because, I mean, complete insanity, you know. But it is crazy to see the correlations now with like even foster care. There's a couple of PIs that I've met and you know, that have been in foster care, like they go single out kind of, you know, people that don't have lots of family, that are kind of isolated, you know, don't really have good support systems. And I mean, some of us are just like perfect for it, but other than that,
well, and I told you, my wife and I are both from San Diego. We were both foster kids. We grew up in the foster system, although we each had one parent that was still alive. They were just not fit to be parents. But, you know, there is one drug that was born in Southern California. Frank has kind of limited me to getting too far into this topic. However, it is a major point of it, and I think Richard will back that up.
Definitely.
You know, one drug especially was born out of San Diego, California, and it went by the name of crank at the time. And, you know, my wife, when I met her, was in a foster home. And I eventually ended up moving in with her once I was an adult, and she was very, very near an adult. And we chose to party like rock stars one weekend. And when we came home, I told you some of the details. There was a tree in the backyard that had been dead for 10 years, and we noticed that there was a lot of activity around us. And as we started to notice all of this sexual theater, all these visuals, she looked out in the backyard and noticed that this tree was now in full bloom. And she went out, balls to the walls, and grabbed this thing by the leaves, which were not leaves. It was made of rubber. It was a camouflage material that was strung up into the tree. And what scared her the most was this tree overgrew an old wooden shed, an old tack shed. You know, you put your lawnmower in and your garden and stuff. And somebody was on top of that shed in all black with a sonic ear. Now, given the circumstances of the medications we were on, or the party drugs we were on, who's going to believe you when you tell this story, especially if you try and tell it days after you've come off of the drug? You're going 100 miles an hour still, and especially your emotions are so pumped. And they can get this response out of people like me to this day because that's a triggered emotion now. I feel that anxiety. And I go, and you guys have seen me, I get going 100 miles an hour, and I haven't used drugs in years. But it's a conditioned response now. So there you have it.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Richard, you want to comment?
I think they are bringing up a valid point, and it's something that we work on every day at Targeted Justice, and that's that the best way to shut this down is to not continue to try to defend what these folks are doing. It's that these are criminal activities, and we are building up a database of evidence and we believe we're past the point of the preponderance of evidence that suggests that strongly suggests there's criminal activity in a number of government agencies, and we're going to pursue that and push it from that point of view rather than looking at or examining the credibility of witnesses and whatever history they may have, because this really is not about the victims. This is about the criminality of the government agents and agencies that are involved. So that's how we're pursuing this, and that's how we want to push it forward.
Okay, that's very good. Do we have any more questions? Or, Risha, would you like to proceed?
Well, if I can add a little bit further, Frank, we continue to have some very important updates at Targeted Justice. As you have brought up in prior episodes, Targeted Justice is working on our fall protest. I did want to mention that for folks that are planning on that. It will be late September or early October timeframe. We are researching to try to identify the best dates for that. Just stay tuned, and we will get you an update on that as soon as we have a little bit more research. We don't want to schedule something at the same time as other conventions or conferences there because, first of all, it drives up hotel prices. It makes it more difficult at the airport. So we're going to do the research to try to maximize what we can do to schedule that for everyone's benefit. So stay tuned. We will get you updated on that. And thanks to Frank for continuing to remind us that we need to get this done. And we will get there. So thank you, Frank.
Okay. Well, I guess we have a lot of guests that are online waiting to get into the queue. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen, but I'm going to leave that up to Mike. Okay. All right. Should I clear the board? Okay. All right. Okay. New callers. Go ahead. Okay. Well, all right. They hung up, so there's just Marilyn. So.
That you can record synthetic telepathy on a cell phone. I have many recordings. I've given them to Frank. I may have sent some to Midge. I've given them to the police department, and I've shared them with other people. I've put them on my YouTube channel. And if you use some kind of background noise, I found out that if you have this background noise, you can hear these thoughts of these other people. And I guess it's on a frequency. It carries on a wave, a frequency, sound wave. So I found out by trying to document the vehicular stalking. I came home to look at it, and then I heard the voices, and I thought, oh, my God. And so I have like hundreds and hundreds of hours of recordings. And I do have names of some of the perps: Michael Warden, Edward Hamilton, Natasha Williams, Chris Ryan, and different towns like Moraine, Ohio, Kettering, Ohio, the west side of Dayton, Ohio. So, and I also, just to inspire TIs, and I found a job with 20 voices. You can find work if you try really hard.
Yeah, Marilyn, this is Midge. Hey, remember that night? Hi, Hen. I met Marilyn in Chicago. She's a lovely lady. But remember I told you about the lady that we met in D.C. who had all the voices as well. And we talked about that one night. So I can really sympathize with you. But talking to this lady that we had met, she had, I forget the amount. Richard, do you remember how many she had? Like over 100 voices. But we deducted.
Yes, it was a very large number. Yeah.
Yeah. So we deducted.
That's very unusual.
We sat there and came to the conclusion it is computer generated because she had tried to meet up with these folks. She, did different things and it never worked out. And so I just remember sitting there with her, and she looked at me and said, oh, my gosh, it is computer generated. They are not real. So I think once for her, because I did hear from her again afterwards, she said that things had gotten better once she kind of got that mindset, So maybe you and I could talk one day if you want. Give me a call. I'll get with you and we'll chit-chat.
Okay.
Are you there, Marilyn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. We still have a couple minutes left. If somebody would like to sneak something in there.
Well, I just want to say that, we can always use research volunteers. If they'll go to our website, we have listed the different subjects that we need help with. Just let us know if you would like to help with anything. Contact one of us, and we'd be very appreciative for that help. So, give us a call, send us an email, and let us know. All right? So it's all on the website. It's under Targeted Justice Needs Research Volunteers. And if you hit on the tab underneath it, up comes the different subjects that we need help with. Because, it takes a village. It takes everybody coming together to expose this program and to stop it. And it becomes more than just our own individual stories. This is about the community. This is about our foreign citizens. This is about everybody. This is so diabolical and evil. This is about our future. This is about our children's future. And so we've got to stop thinking about our individual stories and, become more of a community, thinking about this in a community setting, I think. So.
Okay, Chris.
Huh?
Go ahead. We have a caller, Chris from Las Vegas, but we're running out of time. I think we're going to have to catch you tomorrow night, Chris. I'd like to say thanks to Midge, Susan, and Richard. And I'd also like to thank my listeners. And good night from Boston, Massachusetts. My name is Frank Allen. Thank you.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.